morning, Infinity players. Today we have an exciting game of Combined Army versus Military Orders in the Supplies mission. So, Supplies. Actually, I like this mission a lot. I think it's really interesting. I think there are a lot of strategies you can use in this mission. It's not just snatch and grab like a lot of people think it is. So, primary conditions here. Let me get my pointer out. Laser pointer. Oh, I like that one. No, I can't make them align with it. Okay, so the pointer options. Okay. All right, there we are. Right, each box is worth 1. Controlling more is worth 3. That's a big chunk there. And of course, 2 for them not having any. So it definitely is about the boxes, which is what it should be. And then we get 2 classifieds worth 1 each. Normal deployment zones. The only other thing to notice is that it's a normal whip to open the boxes, but doctors and paramedics get +3 and get to use 2 dice. So that's a very, very high likelihood of opening the box, which directly affects my army list. Keep in mind that we're building army lists with the mission in mind and your opponent in mind. So I know I'm playing military orders, and I know we're playing supplies. So this is a one-off army for that mission versus that opponent. It is not like a tournament army, just for some reference. All right, Umbra Lieutenant. I go back and forth between the Umbra Legate and the Samaritan. I took the Legate here because he's got a K1 combi, which I think is a little bit better against military orders than the Breaker. Their close combat abilities are similar, and I don't imagine that coming up all that much against military orders. Liberto, because he's super efficient. Victor Messer. I've been trying him. A lot of people say he's great. I have yet to see him do anything interesting. I would rather have a mentor usually, or even my regular Morat hacker. But we'll try him out for a few runs and see if I get any good action out of him. My Zeodron, I say Keodron, with his Red Fury. I like this model a lot. It jumps around, gets good lines of fire. Caliban Engineer. Many of you may know I love my Kurgat Engineer, but we're trying the Caliban out. I love the Caliban profile. It's amazing. Whether it should be my engineer or not, I don't know. It does mean that I don't have to take a Kurgat in addition to taking a Caliban in my list, but I don't know if that's worth it or good or what. So we're trying it. He has a slave drone as well to fix things. 1 Dotaratsai, my Osnat. Again, I know I'm playing military orders, and I'm expecting some TO guys to try to grab the boxes, especially if he goes first. Not that this will help if he goes first, but they'll be set up near the boxes no matter what. So if I do go first, she'll run out and she'll try to censor those things, at least one or two of the box areas, find them and kill them with her Preta or her shotgun. Morat Paramedic. Again, he's there for the objective, right? 2 dice at +3, so it'd be 2 dice on a 16 to get it. That's why he's there. Hajduk. I love the Hajduk. The new one is a bit better than the old one, except that in Combined Army Vanilla, we don't get the sniper rifle. We only get the shock marksman rifle. So his idea, set up in his foxhole, covering 1, possibly 2 of the objectives, and then move out and hunt down the order sergeants, the TO guys, if he gets that opportunity. All right, Group 2, we have another Morat Paramedic. I would like to set one of each of these 2 up next to 2 of the objectives. Well, by next to I mean directly across from. And then they can move out and grab them in the first turn, assuming I go first. We got a Q drone. Took a plasma in this case. Again, because guys are going to be running up to get the boxes. I thought the plasma would be effective at dissuading them from doing so. And I got 2 Taigas. Now again, I'm trying these guys out. I don't know if I like them better than Hungry's or not. The Hungry's Climbing Plus usually puts them over the Taigas in my experience. But I do like the Berserk. It's great. And yeah, well, I've been trying them out. I'm not really decided if I like them better than Hungry's, as I said. Okay, my opponent's list, which of course I don't know at the start of the game, but Joan of Arc, the Lieutenant. We got Santiago Killer Hacker, and 3 Spec Sergeant Forward Observers. My opponent loves these guys. We call them Tofu around here, right? TO, Camo, Order Sergeant, Forward Observer. TO, Camo, Forward Observer, Tofu. I've seen him take up to 4 of them in a list, and I never think it's going to be good, but it always is much better than I expect it to be. So he also has a Tech B, a War Core, a Machinist with a Palbot, a Seraph. This Seraph is the HMG version, which I think is great. One of its advantages, which you'll see in this mission, is it does not come with a sync bot, which means it can be part of coordinated orders, which is something that's good with Joan of Arc, because she gives you essentially a free coordinated order every turn. And then he's got his Sierra bot, standard total reaction for covering lanes and whatnot. Okay, let's look at the board. Neat board. We got some raised platforms, right? They're covering quite a bit of the board here, but leaving the center open. We have 3 boxes, 1, 2, 3. Those are our supply boxes, and then all sorts of other stuff. The board is a little bit open for how I usually play. I tend to like denser boards, but when I say open, it's mostly open because the deployment zones go to like here on this side, something like that, and about here on the other side, which means that there's very little places. This one is a little bit farther up. It's up against this wall or so. I remember when I deploy over there. But without a lot of terrain up in the deployment zone, you end up having to deploy like back here, which you'll see some of my guys when I deploy. And that is just, it's an extra order or two wasted in moving up because you weren't able to deploy up there. And that's kind of what I mean by open. There's like not a lot in here, right? But lanes of fire are restricted by these 2 big blocks, even though the center is fairly open. Okay, and this is the board from his side. This side is even worse. I say his side because this is indeed where he ends up deploying. There's nothing blocking this back line back here. And this deployment zone, I think the 12 is something right around here. So it's all the zone you don't get to use. Yeah, I don't terribly like either deployment zone because of that kind of stuff. Excuse me, still fighting allergies. Okay, so these are my classifieds, identity check and undermine. I chose identity check because the Hajduk, he has his visor, and if I'm going to be moving him up to hunt down order sergeants, he'll be great to do this anyway, it's fine. Now undermine, my Umbra can do that. He's my lieutenant, you can use that order to move up and to do this when the time is right. So both these are doable. This is our lieutenant role. I'm the big purple die here, so I fail, or I don't fail, but I lose the face-to-face. He wins and chooses to go first. So I stick him over on the side that I said he was going to be on, the one that I liked a little bit less. And this is starting his deployment. His TR bot, which is in a great position, except that it doesn't have cover up here. It can see all 3 objectives, one off that way. You'll see a better view in an overview in a moment, one off that way and one off that way. This Ox bot down here is a stand-in for his PAL bot, which is attached to his machinist. His left flank, we have the Santiago killer hacker, the Tech Bee, I believe, the father machinist, is their engineer, Joan of Arc, and a war core. This is actually a war core, right? W war core. Okay. On his right flank, he doesn't have anything. There's a whole like third of the setup zone that he didn't deploy anything in. Of course, he does have 3 sergeants who are in hidden deployment, which I don't know where are, but we'll see where they are. I remember one is here, one is right next to the other 2 boxes also. But okay, and there's his HVT sitting right next to the Serenity there. Okay. My deployment, starting on my left flank. TO camo, which is the Caliban. Actually, regular camo, which is the Caliban. All my guys are regular camo. Regular camo, which is the Liberto. Regular commando, which is the Liberto's mine. You can see this is covering that objective with its template, like such. Got the Umbra, kind of hiding back here. Inside this walkway here is one of the Morat paramedics. Again, he's in a direct line to the box here, so you can go get that. Taiga back here hiding. Hajduk. I didn't have a really good place to deploy him, where I could see objectives and not be seen by everything. So he's just kind of down here. He can see like straight forward under that and like up on the edge of this, but can't really see that much. There's just a better view of the Morat paramedic in there. He's prone. Very hard to see in there. All right, on my right flank, we've got my 1 daughter Atsai, Victor Messer, the slave drone for my Caliban engineer, which I'm pretty sure you do have to say who it's connected to. So I'm like, slave drone connected to that camo token, which, if anybody's up to date on the current combined army, they'll know immediately what it is. We've got the Q drone up here, and the other Morat paramedic. Again, pretty good line for him to get to that objective, assuming it's available to be gotten on my turn 1. The Osnat, her Preta, and then the last Taiga over there. Any other comments on deployment? I'll get to reserves in a moment, but my Q drone can't actually see that much of where he is, which probably ends up being a bad placement because I can't cover any objectives from where I am. Maybe even over here would have been better, where I could at least see one of the objectives, but that's where I put it. Okay. Oh, this is just a better view of the Taiga on my right flank. You can see the edge of the board is there, so there's an opportunity for him to run like that. But there's also a stairway right here, which he ends up having to run up when I get to his impetuous move. Okay, my opponent's reserve is his tag. It just cracks it down sort of in the middle of the board. behind this giant wall right here. My reserve is also my tag. It's funny that we both chose super jumping tags for this mission. Yeah, it turns out good for the board, right? But, okay, my guy's back here. And he's pretty far back, and he's can't really see that much. That's just where he is. Okay. First thing my opponent does is he reveals a tofu. Camo token, I think it started like right here and walked over to there. I believe that was correct. And I can see it with the paramedic and the Q drone, kind of like those two angles there. Paramedic discovers, Q drone holds. We're pretty far away, well over 16, so I don't expect any shooting to be effective like that. With my plasma versus TO, his combi rifle versus my mimetism cover, or just cover over here. He decides just to keep moving. So he moves up and moves right into the mine, right like that, which is covering that objective. He makes the armor save though, yeah, and he just takes it, sits right there in front of the objective. Okay, then he reveals one on my right flank, right next to the other box. He walks over to it. I don't have any eyes on this box. As I was saying, his side of the board did have better access to the boxes, but I thought poor places to deploy. So he moves over there a little bit. Nobody sees him. He goes prone, kind of moves over here. I don't think anyone saw him. Maybe someone did see him over this, and that's why he went prone. But he then proceeds to open the box. Oh no, he goes to the other order sergeant, who he considers trying to open the box, but realizes the Q drone can see him, and I'll just get like free plasma rounds at him, even though it's at like -9, so it'll be on 2s. But he doesn't want to give me those free shots. So he goes back to the first order sergeant, and it takes him about 3 orders to open the box, which is very frustrating, especially in his limited insertion list, right? But he does get it. Yeah, he does eventually open the box. And then he starts with, and this is a great idea, coordinated orders to back off with the box. He goes back once prone, out of line of fire of everybody, stands up and moves up. He's using Joan of Arc's coordinated order for the first one, I believe, as Joan of Arc shuffles around a little bit. And he also includes the tag. This might have been the second coordinated order. Tag moves out, order sergeant moves back. They're just kind of basically trading places, right? Moving up like that. Yeah, there they are. Keep moving, keep moving. From up here, the tag still can't see anything. Order sergeant's back here. But then the tag is going to take a jump off to his right. Just basically goes up this little lip and then about 4 inches over there, where he will see my Q drone. Remember, this is my plasma Q drone, not my HMG Q drone. So I'll be at minus for range, putting me on 8s. And he's got his HMG. Unfortunately for him, the Q drone crits him, and he fails the BTS save, taking 2 wounds. Excuse me. Taking 2 wounds and then falling down here. Very scared. So with his last couple orders, the Seraph backs off over here. It's right next to the engineer, so he can go fix it next turn. The order sergeant makes it all the way back over here. You'll see right there, holding the objective. So he's got that objective pretty secure, and the other one, not so much. The other 2, not so much, but they're covered. Okay, moving into Combined Army, turn 1. First thing is this Taiga runs up. It goes up this ladder, runs over here, is seen by Sierra and Tag. They both shoot. It gets a pretty good dodge and just goes unconscious. Morat runs up, throws some smoke up here. My plan here is I'm not sure how to deal with his Sierra bot yet, and I'm thinking about moving up the Hajduk. If the Hajduk, who's right down here, gets up and walks forward, staying in the smoke to about here, and then drops back into his foxhole, putting him about here, then I can see the Q drone and I can shoot at it with mimetism, smoke, and cover. His is obviously not a Q drone. His is a Sierra. And that's pretty good, but it's pretty order intensive. It's about 2 orders of movement, maybe even, I think it was at least 2 orders of movement, maybe even 3, and then back into foxhole, and then I can engage him. So I think I ended up not doing this, but in hindsight, I think I would have preferred to what I do. So I made that plan with the impetuous order on the Dadarazai, and then decided not to go with it. The Taiga, on his impetuous order, runs up the stairwell. Nobody sees him there. I don't use his second half of his order because he would run out here, and the order sergeant and the Sierra would both see him. On my right flank, the Osnat and her Preta, if they impetuous order, they run up. These are ladders. We play these as ladders to make this more playable. They would run up like that. He would climb plus up to here. They'd both be seen by the Q drone and the tag again and probably die. So I suppressed their impetuous order with one of my regular orders. Okay. My Q drone, first thing I'm doing now, Q drone's moving up. It's getting line of fire to the order sergeant there. Remember, over 16 versus his TO. He's firing back over 16 versus my mimetism. Nothing really happens. We shoot at each other, nothing happens. What I'm really doing is trying to get up to gauge his Sierra, which is behind this antenna thing right here on top of this building. So next order I do that. Roll up right to here where I can see across there to the Sierra. It's still the order sergeant. Order sergeant keeps shooting. Sierra shoots. The Q drone shoots all at the Sierra. I'm over 16 still, unfortunately. So I lose. I take one hit from the HMG, but fortunately make my save thanks to cover here. I elect to stay in place and decide that that's probably enough orders for the Q drone because I like where I am. I'm covering the 2 objectives that are not taken, right? That one and that one. And I don't want to risk a pretty bad shootout again, right, against this guy. So he just holds in place covering those objectives. The Q drone's also in combat group 2, which doesn't have a lot of orders. So he may not even have any more orders at that point. This is the Morat paramedic moving prone. He's part of a coordinated order, which you'll see the others in a moment. He's just scooching up, trying to get closer to the objective there. Victor Messer is part of that coordinated order. He goes up the stairwell to there. Second half of this move, he moves over there. The Ulaties was also part of that. He moved up over here. He's basically moving up, trying to get some eyes on the middle objective, so my opponent can't just walk up to it next turn. And my tag was the 4th member of that coordinated order, who's just moving up along over here. This is the attack route that I've chosen over the Hajduk attack. What it is my tag is going to come up over here, where we've determined there's no line of fire. Walk around the side of this building, where I can see the tag, his TR bot like that from behind this building. He's in the open. I'll be in cover, so that'll be okay. And it gets my tag in a strong position. So I do like that move. Once again, with hindsight, I think I would have liked the Hajduk move better. So here's the tag moving out. He walks up this thing, does some super jumping. Right? He's a great tag for moving around. Comes around the corner over here where I can get line of fire there. I'm on 16s because I'm 13 plus 3 for range. He's on 11s. He's plus 3 for range. I'm in cover over here. And so it's a decent attack, right? He still has pretty good odds. He's rolling 4 dice on 11s. It's not bad at all. I roll a whole bunch of 12s, right? 3 12s. He does not crit me, and so he takes 3 hits and goes unconscious. Okay. Now that he's down, the Taiga can move out. Uses its irregular order to run forward here. Order sergeant takes a shot at it. The Taiga fires his chain colt back, and we both go unconscious. Okay. He's unconscious too. So then I move up the paramedic here to get to the objective, and I notice that my first move puts me essentially base contact with the Taiga. And I'm like, well, I'm a paramedic. Let's try to get this guy back. And he successfully does that. Paramedics the Taiga. Not part of the plan, just came up, and I was like, well, maybe it'll work. It did. Okay, so here's the Morat in his final position. He runs up after helping our little Taiga friend, opens this box here, gets this fly crate out, and goes and hides in this building where he's fairly safe. I'm a little worried that his tag will come all the way down my right flank and then get this shot right here. So we'll be worrying about that in a moment with other people. So here's the Ulaties' final position. Moves up, pretty much covering that box, at least from my right side approach. Victor Messer moves up into the building over here. This is one of my primary defenses against that tag. The Victor in here, if he gets within 8 of it, I can start hacking him. I can try to possess it or just isolate it. Again, at this point, I'm wishing Victor was an assault hacker. If this was my shrouded assault hacker, I would be much happier with him right now. Because right, he'd be a camo state, he'd have been forward deployed. Yeah. And then, okay, here's the objective marker we finally got for the Morat over there with his supply box. Victor goes into impersonation with his hacking device plus. Takes me 2 orders to do it. I generally am not a fan of Cybermask. Every time I see it used, I'm unimpressed. When I use it, I'm unimpressed by it. Most of the time. I've had a couple of good instances where I use it so I can walk past a landmine or something like that. But most of the time, a cautious move will do what you want to do with your Cybermask. In this case, I'm worried about the tag running over here and killing me, right? So I think it's worth it to even set a second order doing it so I can be a little safer from that tag. At least burn one of his orders discovering me. Because my opponent's playing only 10 orders. That's pretty big. This is over to the military orders turn 2. His machinist is trying to fix his tag, and he rolls a 16, which clearly fails. He uses a command token and re-rolls it and gets a 13, which succeeds because he has a tech B. So the tag is only going to have 1 wound for the rest of this time. Then he reveals an order sergeant. The 3rd Tofu sergeant appears, he's right behind this box over here, and he shuffles over just to see my Ulaties. The Ulaties throws smoke, but is beaten and killed by the order sergeant. Put unconscious, I should say. He then creeps up here, remaining in cover to the Q drone. Again, pretty bad for the Q drone because he's got cover and TO camo, but I've got cover and mimetism, and I've got 3 dice versus his 3. So it's not like an amazing attack, but it's good. And he's running for the objective, which is great. He wins that, puts the Q drone unconscious. He then moves over to the objective. With no issue, he picks it up and starts backing off, having killed everyone who has eyes on over there. He runs back over to here. He's deciding kind of where to go to hide it best. And he ends up deciding it in this building, basically underneath the unconscious Sierra bot. Yeah, coordinated order with Joan. She's moving around over here. He's moving back, moves back, and he eventually gets into that building, into this corner right here with his objective. Here's the view from behind. It's dark. You can see the objective token right there. Yeah. He's got 1 order left here, which is, I think he was debating trying to climb to fix that with his machinist, but he did not. Yeah, there's Joan of Arc, who's moved up over here just to lend some support, which is good because he didn't have anything on that side of the board. He saw my tag moved up over there, right? So he wants to have some resistance to that tag just coming over here and killing his squishy guys. Additionally, his order sergeant in there isn't that tough, despite his TO camo. He can very easily be killed, and then Joan can run in there and pick up the objective. So this is very good placement on Joan's part. His last order is, I think it's the last order, right? His tag super jumps straight up in the air. You can see it. He's holding it in his hand over here, where it gets line of fire to my Taiga, who was actually right here. Taiga dodges and goes in this direction, manages to crit that dodge, and drops, or is standing now right there. So free movement for the Taiga, thanks to the crit. Okay. This is the Taiga's impetuous order. It runs down the staircase and over to here. Nobody can see it at this point because the tag obviously didn't stay in the air. This is, I guess this is the end of its impetuous order. It's 6-6 move. This thing is so fast. It runs over to here. Nobody has line of fire to it. It's pretty close to that order sergeant. Okay, other side of the board. The Osnat impetuous is up. I don't stop her this time. She brings her hungry there. The tag can see the hungry. Yeah, he takes a shot at it, puts it unconscious. I choose not to go dogged because I'm not planning on driving her this turn very much, if at all. And I've got a paramedic right here, just in case I have, another opportunity to heal something with a very high fizz. Okay. So here you see the hungry pulling the I moved into your zone of control, make an irrelevant AOR so I can walk into hand-to-hand combat with you trick. So movement 6-6 makes this just such an easy thing to do. I do it with my hungries a lot too. And he walks over here, Order Sergeant has to arrow, doesn't matter what he does, then walks around the corner into base contact. So here we are in base contact with him. This was his irregular order to move up to there, and then I think a regular order now to fight into combat, right? And I think that's the last order in his group too. I choose to berserk, and I indeed kill the Order Sergeant with my AP shock close combat weapon, and he puts me unconscious with his pistol there. If I'd had more orders in the group, I might have chosen not to berserk. I might have. I'm not sure if I would have or not. But if I kill the Order Sergeant, which is pretty good, I'm close combat 20, 21, if I remember right, then I could pick up the objective and run away with it. And that would have been amazing. But now he didn't have any more orders. It was his last one to make the attack. Okay. This is inside the building over there. You can kind of see the head of the Taiga right there. And my tag moving up. The Kiyodra is moving up over here, trying to take advantage of these long lines on my enemy's side of the board in his deployment zone. I move up like this, and first thing I see is a really nice line onto Joan. She's not in cover from there. By the edge of my base, I can see like almost her entire model. I don't really care about this Palbot who's there. Joan, recognizing the danger of my Blitzen more than my Red Fury, chooses a dodge. He tries to dodge behind this wall over here. I indeed shoot her with the Blitzen, but she wins the face-to-face dodging around the corner. Anything else interesting in this picture? Okay. So here's what I'm trying to get to. We've got a War Corps, a Tech B, the Order Sergeant with the objective, the Knight of Santiago, and the Machinist, and of course his Seraph over there. So when my tag comes around the next corner, I think I super jumped to get this shot, and so I wasn't in cover. But I can basically see all these guys right here. And, playing real greedy at this point. 2 of them aren't even facing me, so I don't have to worry about their arrows. But I take my Red Fury and I shoot 1 at each of the squishy guys. So 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. And I ignore the machine gun and the combi rifle, or whatever. That works out. I think I kill 2 of them, and I take 1 wound back from the Sierra. And I spent 2 or 3 orders doing that, though. I think the first time I killed 2, and then I killed nobody the other times. Fortunately, I killed the one with the objective, and I believe it was the Tech Bee I also killed, leaving the War Core and everybody else there. Okay. So, center of the board, my Caliban moves up a little bit. It's just basically moving into position to support the tag if I need to. I can run up and heal him if I need to. And I also bring up my slave drone and fix the Q drone, who's, again, overwatching the center of the board. And the Umbra also comes up. You know, he was down here. He jumps up on this, runs over here, goes over there, goes prone. I'm bringing him up. He is my lieutenant, right? It's a little bit of danger if the tag gets a good run. But I'm bringing him up because I need him to do my classifieds. When he gets beyond the halfway point of the board, which is somewhere around there, he can do the net undermining. And then on the other side, since I have not yet moved my Hajduk, I realize he's not going to do the HVT identity check. So we'll be trying to secure the HVT. Either the Umbra can do that, or the Liberto can do that too. Okay. That's pretty much the end of my turn too. And now the MO starts. Tag walks out. It gets a really nice long line of fire down here to my tag. I fire my Blitzen. Now it's unloaded. And he fires his HMG and does a second wound to my tag. Yep, 2 wounds. 1 left. So I fail guts back this way. So I'm kind of in this corner like that. This is big enough to hide my tag, because these silhouette 6, not as giant as these horns on it are, or wings, whatever they are. So he's not able to get that line of fire again. She would really like to. Joan of Arc, remember she was like right over here, runs around the corner, runs in the room, picks up the objective. At this point, he's really not sure what to do with her there. We spent a few minutes of him like, basically checking lines of fire and things. He wants to run over here, where he can go behind this wall and basically beat up the tag in close combat. She'd be very good at that. Right? The tag's not that great in close combat at all. He then realizes, though, the renewed Q drone can see down that line. Okay, he can actually decide my not straight lines. And the Hajduk can also see down here like that. So he'll have to go through both those arrows. He could just move and dodge, and then move and dodge again, but that's a lot of shots he's taking against those dodges, a lot of which are plasma. He doesn't want to take all that plasma. So what he ends up doing after thinking about it, checking different lines of fire and whatnot, is he decides just to go back in the room. And so Joan, this is one where he's checking it, realizing that he was going to get shot up by plasma there. So Joan goes back into the room and just stays right there. The Santiago goes and picks up the objective that the Order Sergeant dropped. He got killed by the Red Fury, and then tucks in behind the tag over here. I believe that was his last order. He was pretty low in orders from his 10 orders. The important thing to note here is the line of fire on the tag. You can see it's like that. That ends up being really bad because he's just not facing, basically just facing this wall, which doesn't help at all in my third turn. Here's a better picture of it. Tag's fire arc is kind of like that, right? And these big things completely block it. So I have all this area open to move around in. And the first thing that happens is the Osnat impetuously runs up here, trying to get closer to him. I think I'm out of 24, so I don't have a shot with my shotgun. And the father engineer over here, who does see her, is very clever for my opponent, gives an alert for this tag, because now he's realized how bad his facing is, and how he's not going to get arrows that are going to be very helpful. Fortunately for me, the tag fails the turn-to-face dodge, and he remains staring at this very interesting wall. Okay, this is my opponent's board edge. This is his long board edge, right? My tag's made it all the way over here. So the situation now is, let's go back just to the other slide for a moment. So in this building over here, Joan has one of the boxes. Behind this tag over here, the Knight of Santiago, a 2-wound heavy infantry, has the other box. And I have one tucked away in the building. So my opponent is in a very strong objective point position here. So I have to be able to win, I have to get him to drop one of those 2 boxes. And then we'll be tied on boxes. And then I have to get my classified, and that would win me by like 1. Right? If I can get both classifieds, I would win by 2. So I'm analyzing at this point how to do that. And I decide that the first, most obvious line of attack is the tag, which we'll see in the next one. Tag coming around here, pouring Red Fury, fortunately damage 14 Red Fury, into Joan of Arc. Right? So he'll do that. If that doesn't work, the Umbra can come down the staircase here and engage Joan through the building there. As far as his Knight of Santiago, I don't see any real way to get to it. I'm kind of thinking about it as I'm doing other things. We'll get back to that in a moment. So the Keyadron does come out, gets in a firefight. There's still 2 guys off over here, Tech B and the engineer that can see him. I ignore the combi rifle. I ignore the flash pulse. I put 4 dice of Red Fury into Joan. The first order, I think the tag gets hit, makes a save by Joan. He makes some saves. And then he does it again, and he pushes up to here, which is maybe the next picture. These are the guys that are shooting back at him. This is the Tech B, and that's the engineer. Yeah, so I move over to here. I'm still out of cover from Joan as she sees me there. These guys fire at me. This time, I'm a little more successful. I get 1 wound on Joan, but I get stunned by the flash pulse. So that's the end of the attack for the Keodron. He just sits right there. So again, back to the center of the board, realizing I'm going to have to move out my Umbra. He may get killed doing that. So I use the Liberto's order to go from out here just to the inside of the building. He's inside the building on the ground floor. We just put the marker up there for ease of movement. I'm pretty sure that's 8 to his HVT. So I've secured the HVT and have that 1 objective point. So now if I can get him to drop 1 box, I win by 1. Okay. Here's my Q-drone on my right. Remember the Q-drone was over here overlooking the center. It only has 2 orders and I'm out of command tokens, so I couldn't have moved it over to the other group. And I realized after doing other things, thinking about this a little bit, that with 2 orders I can get 1 shot over here at the tag. Now I have the plasma Q-drone this game, which means it has blast mode. So blast mode on the tag will do something like this and hit the Knight of Santiago. It's not a good shot. The Q-drone will be on 8s because it's just -3 for range, no other modifiers there. But it's pretty much unopposed. Move over here and I can shoot him to there. I'll be using the blast mode, so they'll both get turned to face dodges. Q-drone's in group 2. It only has 2 orders. The other person in that group is the Morat paramedic, who doesn't have anything interesting to do right now. So I try the attack. I move over there, move again, and then take the shot. It's a move to go around the building, then move over here and take the shot over there. Again, I'm rolling on 8s, and I get possibly the best shot I will ever have in Infinity. 2 crits and a hit. My opponent did not deserve this, is what I told him right at that time. The tag is incinerated. The Knight of Santiago, who fortunately with the newest ruling on this, these are not crits against him, they're just 8s. But he fails his dodge anyway and is also incinerated. And this flybox is miraculously unharmed, drops on the ground. Once again, this was not an amazing attack, it was just super lucky. And is a big victory point swing, as you'll see earlier. Excuse me, objective point swing. So, on my right flank, the Umbra moves up using his lieutenant order, and he tries to net undermine, fails. He then moves over here with a regular order and successfully net undermines. It takes a walk with Kodali, something like that, whatever that is. Okay, so now the only thing that I have left to do, I should have won by now, because we both have 1 box. I've got 2 classified, so I should be up by 2 points. But I've got some orders left. We're going to go for Joan of Arc. Moves down here, gets into a firefight. I'm within 16, so I'm +3 with my K1 combi. She's at a good range for her Spitfire, but I have mimetisms, so we're both on 15s. My 3 dice versus her 1. First order, I hit her with the K1, doesn't do anything. Second order, I move up here into cover, and this time I do kill her with the K1. I think I hit her 2 or 3 times. She fails the saves and is dead. So she drops the box. So all of a sudden, we have 1 box, which is more than our opponent, and more boxes, and opponent has none. That was the other criteria for this mission. And I have my 2 classifieds, leaving in the end for an 8 objective point to 0 objective point game for the combined army. Now, if that amazing attack hadn't happened from the Q-drone, we would have each had 1. That would have been tying, and I would have been up by the 2 for the classifieds. So it would have been a win by 2, something like 4-2, I believe, would have been the, or maybe 3-1. Very, very different game there. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.